Hi, ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon to you all. This is Master Zhou Ching, and I'm actually speaking from Singapore. Before I begin my presentation, first of all, I would like to thank Connie and the organizing committee for inviting me here today to share with you Feng Shui related topic. Alright? And my topic today will be introducing Xuan Kong Liofa and the space and time difference with flying stars. So what I intend to do is that I'm going to make comparison between Xuan Kong Liofa and flying stars in GIS. I understand that most of you here probably have some basic understanding of flying stars. But when it comes to Xuan Kong Liofa Feng Shui, maybe some of you here may not be so familiar with it, and therefore I would like to share more about Xuan Kong Liofa with you, about what this topic is about, and what is the difference in terms of application. So the agenda for this afternoon will be brief introduction of Xuan Kong Liofa. So I'm going to talk about how it comes about briefly, the time cycle difference between Liofa and flying stars. Number 3, the limitations and unique advantages between the two Xuan Kong systems. And of course, one of the bonus topics here is that I'm going to show you where is the money in period 9. And of course, we can discuss the controversial topic about whether period 9 has already arrived or not, followed by Q&A. Now, let me talk a bit about the brief history of Xuan Kong Liofa. Xuan Kong Liofa was once a mysterious Feng Shui system that was strongly advocated by the late renowned Grandmaster Tan Yang Wu. In 1929, there's a little story here. Tan actually met a Taoist by the name of Liofa, who later imparted Xuan Kong Liofa to him. What surprised many people after that was that Tan actually published on newspaper in March 1930 to make a public apology to his students that the Xuan Kong system which he had been teaching or had written books on was not actually correct. He acknowledged that Xuan Kong Liofa was the authentic Xuan Kong Feng Shui, and therefore discarded the flying stars Feng Shui, which he had been practicing for years. Of course, I'm not too sure what exactly is the flying star Feng Shui that he has been practicing, but today, whatever we learn, in Xuan Kong Liofa, actually mostly come from Tan Yang Wu lineage. For me, I have the privilege to receive blessings and endorsement from my teacher, Master Lin Zhiying, who is today the authority of Xuan Kong Liofa in Taiwan, and also have been given the blessing to conduct this program in any part of the world. So that's me with him. And this is the book written by my Master Lin Zhiying since 2004. And it has been widely used by many practitioners and teachers and masters, grandmasters, to be used as a part of their teaching program. Okay, so all these diagrams later on you may find very familiar. You can Google for it online. And since 2018, I've been given the privilege to conduct this Xuan Kong Liofa class, and students from all over the world will actually fly in to take this course from me in Singapore. Now, let me talk about some brief introduction of Xuan Kong Liofa and the 6 principles, because in Chinese, Liofa means the 6 principles, or you can call it the 6 philosophy or 6 methodology. So the number 1 principle will be this term known as Xuan Kong. So Xuan Kong can be interpreted as time and space. It actually talks about the concept of placement of water, because Xuan can mean Xuan Wu. Alright, you can interpret it as the black tortoise. So it is about the placement of water. And it also discusses the concept of 2-cycle 8 period. Whereas in today's context, when you practice flying star, you probably are more familiar with the 3-cycle 9 period system. Number 2 principle is known as 雌雄. So 雌雄 is another term for yin yang. Nevertheless, there's a subtle difference here. 雌 is actually yin, female. 雄 is yang, male. So in the natural environment, features that take forms and shapes are known as 雌雄. For example, things that you can feel, you can touch, like mountains, rivers, buildings, and roads. Okay, alright, so they are given the name known as 雌雄. In the natural environment, features that does not take forms and shapes are known as qi, which you cannot really touch them, feel them, they are not tangible. They are known as yin yang. So there is a subtle difference here. Number 3 principle is the golden dragon. So what is golden dragon? Golden dragon is a formless energy or formless qi. It talks about the concept of 正神 and 灵神. For some of you here, if you have studied Flying Star Feng Shui, 正神 and 灵神concept, I don't think you will find it unfamiliar, but I will share with you more later on. Okay, so golden dragon actually is where the prosperous 5 yellow goes to. So in Xuan Kong Liofa, we actually recognize 5 yellow as something auspicious. Contrary to popular belief that 5 yellow is actually a very nasty and malicious star. Okay, so we actually, in Xuan Kong Liofa, we chase after the 5 yellow, or otherwise known as the golden dragon. So over here, the picture here states that in period 7, the golden dragon position, okay, if you are familiar with the Luo Pan diagram, right? So the period 7 golden dragon, the position is in the east. When come to period 8, the golden dragon position shifts to northeast. And when go to period 9, the golden dragon will fly and later on land on north sector. Okay, so wherever golden dragon goes to, that sector is prosperous. But how do you make it more prosperous? Is where you need to see water. So I will share with you later on. Number 4 principle, icing. So icing can be loosely translated as leaning stars. It is derived based on the complex process of 抽爻换象. So 抽爻换象 means you look at the trigrams, you extract the yao, that means the line, either the broken line or the solid line, and then you change the image. It is the most valuable part of Xuan Kong Liofa. Okay, and individual icing operates within the realm of 1 mountain or 15 degrees. Icing are actually scattered over the 24 mountain ring. So we will perform a calculation. In class, actually, I will show the student how we calculate the icing step by step. And by tapping into the qi of the prosperous icing, one will be able to enjoy good health and wealth luck. Number 5 principle, castle gate. You might have heard of castle gate quite frequently, especially from flying star systems. Nevertheless, the calculation and the concept is quite different here. Castle gate here talks about water mouth. Water mouth means when you have 2 rivers, it can be one big, one small, when they actually meet. So the intersection point here is the water mouth. So if you could look at this small little diagram here, you look at my cursor. So this is the meeting of 2 rivers, right? So this is the water mouth. And water mouth is a very, very important concept in landform feng shui. Castle gate theory is therefore a formula to work out how water mouth and facing direction of house or tomb should be compatible. That means you use this concept of castle gate to design the facing of your house or your tomb, so that you can actually tap on the so-called water mouth and make it very auspicious to you and prosper you. Next, we have 太岁法. So, essentially 太岁, or otherwise known as the Grand Duke principle, is used to predict when will certain event take place for a house or a tomb. So, if your house Feng Shui setup is good, 太岁 will tell you which year and month the good things will happen, and vice versa. Meaning, if your house Feng Shui setup is no good, or outside your house there are poison arrows, there are 煞气, we will use 太岁 method to help us to predict when will all these bad things happen. When will operation surgery take place at home? When will you become sick? When will you become rich? Etc. etc. So the calculation is actually based on the 24 mountains ring. Alright? So the next topic I'm going in is the time cycle difference between Liofa and Flying Star, and this is extremely important because of this two different systems, people are confused with the arrival of period 9. So allow me to proceed. First of all, you must understand the later heaven trigram arrangement. So over here, later heaven trigram arrangement, we have the Li Gua on top, okay, the Kan Gua below. So Li is fire, the Kan is water, and then over here, based on this anti-clockwise movement, you have Xin Gua, the wind, Zhen, the thunder, Geng is the mountain, then of course we have Kan, water, then we have Qian, the heaven, we have the marsh, the Dui, and then we have the Mother Earth, Kun, back to the fire, Li Gua. Okay, so on my right hand side here, this is actually the Luo Shu, or the Luo Shu. I just put it over here so that it can give us some comparison. And in fact, if I translate this so-called later heaven trigrams, I express them, into numbers, you will see that Li Gua is number 9, Kun Gua is number 2. So we can use this actually interchangeably. Although they are different, but somehow in terms of the numbers, the numerology, they share the same thing. Okay, and with that, I want to show you the 3 cycles, 9 periods concept. So today, if you are practicing Flying Star Feng Shui, this thing will be pretty familiar for you. So this is how the ancient masters, they actually demarcate the time. Okay, the time. So what happened is that first of all, they divide in broad stroke. So they divide the time into upper, middle, lower, or otherwise known as the San Yuan. And then they have the period. So period, we have period 1 to period 9. So when period 9 is over, we go back to period 1. And each period actually will last for 20 years. Okay. So where are we now? We are actually still in period 8, which actually started from 2004 and will end, technically speaking, on February of 2024. The ruling trigram is Geng Gua, which belongs to earth element. So please remember, we are right now in period 8 because we are still in 2021. So remember, the early part of February 2024, we will then go into period 9. So each period here is a standard 20 years. So lower cycle, okay, actually governs 3 periods, which add up to 60 years because it's 20 year, 20 year, 20 year. All right. let me introduce to you early heaven trigrams. You will see that the early heaven trigrams arrangement would differ from the later heaven trigrams. Right now, instead of having the Li fire on top and the Kan water below, we have the Qian on top and we have the Kun below. In Chinese, we call it 天地定位. So we fix the heaven and earth first. Then in the anti-clockwise manner, we have the Marsh Dui. Then we have the Li. So Li is like the the sunrise from the east, and then the sunset here into the west. And west is governed by the Kan Gua. So after Li, we have the Zhen. Then we have the Kun, we have the Geng, we have the Kan, we have the Xin, and go back to the Qian. So this is the early heaven trigrams. And you put this, you compare with the Luo Shu, you will see that now the trigram corresponds to the number here in this manner. So Qian Dui Li Zhen is actually 9438. Xin Kan Geng Kun is 2761. So it means something, especially if you study the 玄空大卦 Feng Shui, you will know that later on you will have to put this number onto the respective trigram here. Now, but this is actually sidetrack. Okay, so the main discussion here is about the cycle and period. What we have discussed just now is 3 cycles, 9 period. Now, 2 cycle, 8 period is something that is less frequently used by a lot of Feng Shui practitioners. Okay, 二元八运 in Chinese. Nevertheless, 玄空六法 actually subscribe to this system. So, in this 2 cycle 8 period, they have only 2 cycle upper and lower. And of course, in Chinese, there's a saying, 龙分两片阴阳曲. That means dragons are divided into upper and lower, yin and the yang. Alright? So, now where are we? We are actually here. Period 9. Why? Let me explain to you. So over here, upper cycle, it has period 1, 2, 3, 4. Lower cycle, it has 6, 7, 8, 9. You will realize that there is no such thing as period 5 in 2 cycle 8 period system. Okay? There is no, because the reason is that because there is no Gua 5. There's no middle trigram. And the year, okay, the year that is, it's actually not 20 years per period. Not like 3 cycle 9 period, where you assign 20 years to each period standard. No, but the year here is calculated based on the ruling trigram. It can range from a minimum of 18 years for one period to a maximum of 27 years a period. Okay? And this is how they demarcate the time. So for period 8, right, it actually started in 1996 and it ends 2016. When it comes to 207, we actually enters into period 9 per se. And this thing will end similarly like the 玄空 flying star system. Okay, the period 9 will end on 2044 actually, 2044 February. Alright? And for your information, period 9 over here will last for 27 years. 27 years. Period 8 previously lasted for 21 years because you take 2016 minus 1996 plus 1, it gives you 21 years. And how on earth all this number of years come about, I'll show you right now. So this is another way that I present the so-called 2 cycle 8 period, sorry. So you can see that, for example, this is the upper cycle. So I draw a line cutting across this period 1, 2, 3, 4. Separate them from the lower cycle. You will see that period 1 is ruled by Kun Gua. So Kun has actually 3 yin line or 3 broken line. So in I Ching, what they do is that for broken line, they give a number 6. For a solid line, they assign a number 9. So this is under the I Ching concept. Okay, therefore, you have 6 plus 6 plus 6 give you 18. And then I give you one more example. Xin, period 2 is ruled by Xin. So Xin has 2 solid line and 1 broken line. So as mentioned just now, solid line is given a number 9. So you have a 9 plus 9 plus 6. In total, 24 years. Now let's fast forward to period 8. So let's come down to lower cycle, period 8. Period 8 is ruled by Zhen, not Geng Gua. Okay, not Geng Gua. In Xuan Kong Flying Star system, it is ruled by Geng Gua. But now Xuan Kong Liofa is ruled by Zhen. Reason being because we adopt the early heaven trigram system. So tell me how many yin and yang line is inside Zhen. You can see for yourself, there's 1 solid line and 2 yin line on top of the solid line. Alright, so you have again 6 plus 6 plus 9, which gives you 21 years. And right now, we are in period 9 already. And period 9 is ruled by Qian trigram. So Qian actually contains all 3 solid line, and therefore you can use 9 times 3 to give you 27 years in total. Alright, so if you add all this period 1, 2, 3, 4 up, it will give you a very nice number, 90 years. Likewise, if you add period 6, 7, 8, 9, it will also give you a very nice number, 90 years. Okay, so this is not coincidental. That is the beauty of I Ching. Now, in GIS, let me just put them side by side for you to make a comparison. So this is 3 cycle, 9 periods. Where are we now? We are in period 8. If you are using 3 cycle, 9 periods, for example, you are using Flying Star system. If you are studying Xuan Kong Liofa, then you have already entered into period 9 since 2017. And let me just share with you something. Every time there is a change in period, there will be some earth-shaking events that happen to the world. For example, if you could recall, all right, in 1996, 1997, there is the Asian financial crisis. Because why? There is a shift into period 8 under Xuan Kong Liofa. And then when it comes to period 9, when we enter 2017, very soon in 2019, we have another crisis, which is COVID-19. And if you can recall, you go back to period 7 in 1975, somewhere around there, plus minus, there should be some oil crisis happening. Okay, so you can do your research. So I hope this gives you some insights. Okay, so if you want to compare the difference between Flying Star and Liofa, a quick one, concept of time. Flying Star use 3 cycle 9 periods, Liofa use 2 cycle 8 period. One period is 20 years, whereas Liofa ranges from 18 to 27 years. Period 8 for Flying Star starts in 2004, whereas Liofa is 1996. Period 9 starts in 2024 for Flying Stars, February 2024, whereas Liofa has already begun in 2017. So you can see that Liofa, in terms of the period number, it actually comes earlier. So the question today, or the controversy or the questions that I always receive from so many students and public is that, has period 9 actually arrived? So it depends on what system you are using, to answer this. If you are using Xuan Kong Liofa, or if you are practicing Xuan Kong Liofa, then of course period 9 has arrived since 2017. Okay? Next topic is the limitations and unique advantages between the two Xuan Kong systems that I wish to highlight. Okay, you see, typically before we analyze the Feng Shui, when you go down to a house, when you take out your Luo Pan, if you are practicing flying star, let's say you are flying star practitioner, you will need certain info to plot the natal chart. You see, so plotting of natal chart information is required. For example, is required to plot a natal chart. Info on moving date is required. Okay. Info on house facing direction is required. And the main reference point here is the house itself. So if you are a flying star practitioner, you actually need certain information first. Otherwise, you could not plot the natal chart or the flying star chart. For Liofa, we do not have a natal chart per se. We do not require the move-in dates. We do not require the house facing direction. Okay, and the main reference point now shift towards the occupant. And we call it the one body, one Tai Chi. So a typical flying star chart looks like this, in case you are not familiar with flying star. So you see, you actually need to input the period number, and the period number depending on when is your house being constructed. And of course, you have to take your Luo Pan, go down to measure the facing direction of the house. So typically, a facing direction of the house, in my practice, is the beautiful side, the facade of the house or the condominium. Like in this case, in Singapore, we'll take the balcony. And then, of course, opposite will be the sitting. Alright, so facing direction, sitting direction. And in order for you to plot the flying star chart, let me recap. You need the period number. Okay, you need the facing direction. And sometimes, just because of looking for the period number and the facing direction, it gives a lot of stress to the student and practitioner. For a simple reason that they cannot find the constructed date of the house. Okay, and for some weird house design, they don't know where to get the facing. So there are a lot of arguments on this in the forum, which I leave it to you to find out. And if you are learning Xuan Kong Liofa today, okay, actually we do not need to be bothered by facing and sitting direction. We just go in and we zoom into individual compartment. Okay, and we adopt the concept called one body, one Tai Chi. We will just overlay the 24 mountain ring, or we take out a Luo Pan, we see where you sleep, where is your stove, where you sit, where's your sofa, and we move our so-called this stencil, or we use our Luo Pan, we go there and measure to check is the incoming qi that you're receiving prosperous or not. Simple as that. Does it comply to the golden dragon principle or not? Does it comply to the Ling Shen Zhen Shen principle or not? And that's it. So this is so-called the internal application, and of course we can use it for external. So let me just give you some insights in terms of degree of influence. Flying stars, if you look at the chart, let me just rewind back. If you look at this flying star chart, we are actually looking at the star combination, like for example 1661, 5297, and all this star combination occupy one trigram, and one trigram is equal to 3 mountain or 45 degrees, because each mountain is 15 degrees. Whereas Liofa operates, you can zoom down to 15 degree one mountain. Okay, so it sort of go down into a bit more precise measurement. So which ring to use on Luo Pan? Very simple. We only use 24 mountain ring for both. Okay. Stars behavior. So the stars here fly. They fly, you know, in a flight path. Whereas Liofa, we look at leaning. Like this. This is a typical so-called formula that we base on. Of course, it may look a bit strange to you. What is strange here is that there is this extra protrusion here. Protrusion here. So there's a protruded mountain here. Okay, and there are some numbers here. These are actually the icing number. So some of these numbers here are good, some of these numbers here are bad. So you have to actually learn this in the class. Okay, so we have to use the 抽爻换象 method to derive all this method. 9742, 3168, etc. So, in terms of application, best use on what types of property? So, if you are looking at tombs, I would say flying star is not so effective because I also practice in Feng Shui and I do live burial, I do this kind of cemetery park Feng Shui. So, if you are doing for a dead people, it is not so effective. Oh, okay. Liofa, of course, in Feng Shui is usable. Don't forget, because just now we have this castle gate theory to help us. High-rise apartment wise, very good. I love it for our, especially Singapore. We have a lot of so-called public housing, condominiums, because we build high, and therefore it is very good for us to use on high-rise apartments. Liofa is also effective. Landed houses, of course, effective. Malls and casinos are less effective. I mean, it will be usable only if the malls and casinos are of regular shape. If you come to Singapore and you look at our Marina Bay Sand, it is unlikely you can apply flying stars on it. Well, you can beg to differ, of course, but based on my experience, because with so many openings and with very weird shape, okay, and for very large complexes like this, it is not easy to use. Whereas for Liofa, it is effective. Okay, they don't care about how many doors, what kind of facing, or design. It can be used effectively. I will show you some pictures. Can you use flying star for urban planning? Not effective. Because to be frank, flying star needs to be applied within 4 walls. Okay, within 4 walls. That is my practice. Of course, if you think that you can use flying stars for town and city, I leave it to you. But I'm just speaking from my personal experience. And for Liofa, it can be used effectively. Let me show you some pictures. Why Xuan Kong Liofa is flexible in its application. As a standalone building level, you see, this one is circular in shape. Sometimes it's not easy for you to find the facing. And therefore, if you cannot find the facing direction, you cannot plot flying star chart. So that is one limitation. Whereas for Xuan Kong Liofa, we are basically looking at how this spherical structure is positioned in the macro environment and where they open the door. Like for example, they open the door here. Okay, there's this bridge, linkway, then go into this entrance and exit point. So we just have to we just have to stand in the middle of this structure and we check the 24 mountain to see where they open the door and make sure they open in the prosperous sector. So where is this place? This is in Marina Bay Sands, Singapore. So at integrated resort level, we can also use Liofa because there is this water mouth here. We just need to know that based on castle gate theory, how we actually put the Marina Bay Sands structure, and within Marina Bay Sands, how we open the doors, because there will be a lot of doors inside. Okay. At the city level, we can even plan where to house your government house, government building. Okay, and we can just based on your Sydney, for example. All right, we know that Sydney is this big. We just have to put this in the middle. We will know that how will Sydney perform in period 9. And in this case, Sydney, because of the water mouth, the main water mouth here, and it is in the prosperous sector, Sydney will be doing well in period 9. Okay, unfortunately, Singapore is not going to do well in period 9 because of the position of the water mouth. So, why Xuan Kong Flying Star is also one of my favorite applications. I'm not just biased towards Xuan Kong Liofa because Flying Stars is also one of my favorite systems. In fact, I use them in tandem. But I will only discuss that in class, you see. So as long as we can obtain the accurate facing direction and period number, Xuan Kong Flying Star is itself a wonderful system. I love it so much because stars don't lie. If you can plot the accurate natal chart of the house, you can actually read the house like a 八字. Okay? For instance, you can tell whether it is a house that is prone to specific health issues. Like for example, you got 2-5 combo, you know that it is no good. Okay, you got 2-1, 2-5, 5-9, all those that involve number 5. You know that if they come to certain specific important sector, or you sleep in those rooms, you know you're going to get health issue. And before the owner, the occupant tell you what problem you have, you can already tell them. And you can say that, oh, you probably have a heart disease. You probably got stomach issue. Okay, etc. etc. Quarrelsome, you can tell because 2-3-3-2 combo, I straight away share with you. Promotes career luck, you can get 6-1-1-6 in period is very good. Unhappiness between mother and daughter-in-law, make a guess what combo is that. 9-7-7-9 will lead to that. 2-4-4-2 will also lead to that. Flying star combo. And etc. based on the 81 star combination. Okay, you do not actually need to memorize 81 star combination because in certain period, there are only a limited sets of flying stars combo to remember. And if you do a lot of Feng Shui, naturally you will remember them and internalize them. It can give clue also who is affected in the house based on the occupant's Gua number. Let's say you are born in 1975, you are male, your Gua number is 7, and you are part of the house natal chart. Okay, don't forget the reference point for flying star is the house. And you as occupant is one of the flying stars. So we use that to measure, to calculate who will get the problem. It can predict when the event, good and bad, will happen. Why? Simply because it is like 八字. It also has the yearly annual flying star that come in to interact with the natal chart, followed by we have the monthly flying star. And if you want to be very, very precise, you can go down to the daily flying star. Okay, in 奇门遁甲, we go into the hourly flying stars to predict event. But is it necessary? Actually, not necessary. We usually stop short at the month level. Okay, so flying star itself is a very robust system also. And I always tell my students, stars don't lie. Okay, stars don't lie. Trust the star more than you trust your property agent or you trust the occupant. So this is just an example. If you go to do a house Feng Shui, you just basically overlay the flying star chart and then look at what is the star combo at different important sector, and you can actually predict the event. You can diagnose the issue in the house. Now, I'm actually at the last part, and also something I want to share as a bonus. Okay. So where is the money in period 9? Okay, how you should go and find a prosperous sector to put water, for example. So I'll just share with you. I will say, let's find the golden dragon or Ling Shen together. Okay, so there's this concept of Ling Shen and Zheng Shen. So you just have to remember. Okay, Ling Shen, you can see water. Zheng Shen, you cannot see water, but you can see mountain. Okay, so let me just go back, rewind. Let's find the golden dragon. And in period 9, we actually, first of all, put number 9 here. In Xuan Kong Liofa, we fly the star in, of course, in accordance to the flight path. So 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we are chasing after 5 yellow. And 5 yellow is equal golden dragon. And golden dragon is equal to Ling Shen. That's just another name for it. But number 5, just take note, is your money star in Xuan Kong Liofa. Okay? And where is it located? It is located in the north sector. But there is more than one Ling Shen, or there's more than one locations that you can, make it prosperous. It's not just limited to the north. I'll share with you shortly. But let's try to understand this concept first. Okay? Now, there are other Ling Shen where you can see water. So besides the north, East is also good. Southeast is also good. Southwest is also good to see water. That means outside your house or even inside your house. 正神 is opposite. That means south sector, west sector, northwest sector, as well as northeast sector, you should not see water, but you can see mountain. So if you see mountain, it will be good for certain thing. You see, there's a saying in Feng Shui, right? 山管人丁，水管财 means the mountain governs the descendant or the human luck inside the house. It can be health, it can be relationship, it can be procreation. And water will govern money and career, especially money. Okay? So when you buy a house tomorrow, remember, in period 9, 玄空六法, this is the very, very important formula that you should take down. Okay? You need not see all 4 sectors here, like north, east, southeast, southwest, to have water. No, you just need to make sure that one of these 4 Ling Shen, you have water outside. It is good for you. Or you have water mouth outside. It is good for you. Or if your house main door opens at this 4 golden dragon sector, it is good for you. Okay? So in case you, what I'm saying is that if you happen to see a mountain outside north sector, then it is no good. It's going to, of course, affect your money. Because north sector can only see water in today's context until 2024 February. Okay? So I hope you are clear. Thank you very much for listening to what I have presented. Okay, if you have any inquiries and questions, you can email us about our courses, or of course later on we are going to have a Q&A. Otherwise, you can visit us or just come to my Master Zhou Qing Facebook page, okay, to find out more about us. Thank you very much, and feel free to ask any question you have shortly. Thanks.